And here we are with another simulator game. Is it as good as all the other simulator games? Well, I'm here to tell you that Prison Simulator might just surprise you. Welcome back, guys, and today we are talking Prison Simulator, and it's just been officially released on Steam. I think it was 4th of November. It's been out in early access for a few months now, so there are quite a few other videos out there, but I wanted to kind of give this one full justice as to when its official release was out. So let's dive in to what makes this one so interesting versus all those other simulator games that seem to be flooding the market at the moment. Now, first and foremost, I did a review recently of Gas Station Simulator, and I naively said that Gas Station Simulator might just be the best simulator game that you can get out there at the moment. I have to say, I maybe have said that a little bit too soon, because having gone through Prison Simulator, it has some great little mechanics in there and some real longevity, in fact. Now, obviously it's not perfect. These sort of games never are perfect. So we're going to go through the usual stuff that we go through. Gameplay, sound, graphics, and just anything else that we come across along the way. Now, the first thing I want to say is that calling this Prison Simulator, I think, wasn't the best choice for a name, because actually simulator implies it has a kind of a niche, boring-esque type feel to it. This really doesn't. Just like The Escapist, just like Prison Architect, this kind of has, I think, much more open, wide audience that will enjoy this game. It has a story to it. Now, that was what surprised me first and foremost. So the premise of this, ultimately, you are a guard that's joined the job. You're a rookie looking after a prison, and you go about your daily tasks. So these can be things like watching visitation, watching prisoners around the canteen, taking them out for exercise. If you've seen Shawshank Redemption, this is pretty much Shawshank Redemption Simulator. Now, with that, you get to interact with the guards, and you also get to interact with the prisoners, and you actually start building a relationship with these guys as well. So you'll get respect based on how you interact and behave with them. Now, if you want to, you can be a right arsehole and be one of these kind of dictator-style prison guards that goes around and beats the crap out of the prisoners. Or you can actually be a little bit cheeky, and you can actually be kind of trading them drugs, needles and weapons on the side to get their respect and get money. And at the end of each day, you'll be judged, you'll be given XP, the usual kind of thing. You get to level up your character and do new stuff with your character, and likewise you'll get money, which you can then buy new things, such as it could be, I don't know, more shower rooms for the prison, or you could buy yourself some new clothing, new protective equipment, etc. Now, what I like about this is the tasks that they give you are not too involved for each day, so you'll get some free time along the way. Usually you'll have a morning, afternoon and evening task. That might be counting the prisoners, making sure they're all in line, or it might be taking them to the workshop, ensuring that they do their job. And in those situations, you are very much playing mum and dad. You're sort of looking over them, making sure that they're not breaking the rules, and if they are, you can give them a quick beat down, or you can just tell them to be quiet, or you can just observe and watch the mayhem. Now, in between each of those, you also get some free time, and the free time is really up to you. You might want to go around and just be an arsehole, or you might want to kind of build up your character. And as you can see here, I spent a very long time playing these kind of side games where you can sort of build up your character, build up the stamina, build up their strength, whatever it might be, just to make yourself sort of more stronger and more fearful, within the prison itself. Now, as I say, what makes this so interesting is there is a kind of a story that threads through each day. So you'll have your normal tasks, but there is an overarching story that you take part in. And I'm not going to spoil that story, I'll let you guys find that out for yourself. But what I loved about this versus other simulator-esque games, that it wasn't just about the tasks. Developers have really thought about how do we get you immersed in what you do. And there are some things in here which kind of make you question what you do. I mean, there is a scene where you go about executing someone who claimed their innocence, and at the time, are they innocent, are they not innocent? You don't know what to believe, but at the end of the day, you have a job to do. And it kind of opened up a bit of an ethical question in my head, like what it must feel like to be one of these prison guards that actually take out some of these quite horrendous actions, or not horrendous actions, depends where you lie, I guess. And Bait Games have done a good job in bringing out those morals and those ethics that you have. I mean, do you put someone into solitary confinement for kind of doing a misdemeanor, and where do you draw that line? I mean, is it a case of when they start attacking you or attacking other people? Why does that make it worse or not worse than the other? It kind of puts you on the spot, and you have to think about what is right and what is wrong. The only thing I would say about it is that whatever decision you have, other than losing the respect of those individuals that you kind of put in to different punishments, it doesn't really have any other impact. And so I would have liked to have seen that perhaps other prisoners ganging up on you. And if you've ever played Papers, Please, where you kind of have to cross-check different papers and all the rest of it for those that are crossing a border, there's a similar kind of mechanic involved here where you have to check, is a prisoner liable for release, or are they allowed to come into your prison, and you have to check the fingerprints, you have to check their name and cross-check it against their prison number, etc. So there's this kind of nice mechanic of spot the difference and understanding who can and can't come in your prison. And again, the impact of your actions I don't think are necessarily felt, but I do like the fact that you are questioned and your morals are sort of put on the line there when you kind of approve or reject someone for parole. Now, one of the tasks, and I don't think I'm ruining too much here, you almost turn into a first-person shooter. And based on what I saw with the animations and kind of how they implement some of the other tasks that you do, I wasn't expecting much from the first-person parts of this game. I was pleasantly surprised. It actually worked really nicely. It had a really good shooter first-person feel to it. So again, well done to Bait Games for implementing that in such a good way. Now, what I think is so interesting about these so-called simulator games is that usually when you come across a simulator game, there's only sort of 4 or 5 or possibly 6 things that you do repetitively. Not in Prison Simulator. There's actually a huge variety of tasks that you do, and I never really found myself getting bored of them. Now, I do find the grind a bit of a problem in games like this. I think Prison Simulator isn't paced very well. I said there's a story and you do seem to go through tasks with relative ease, but you get to day 15 and you're still kind of waiting for things to move a little bit. So I will say that in terms of the pacing, it's a little bit slower than it perhaps could be. And when I talk about that grind, it can sometimes be the fact that it takes a while to build up your money, or it takes a while to build up your experience. You have to do quite a lot of tasks to get there. And again, it just feels like it could have been quickened a little bit. Now, I use this word a lot when I talk about simulator games, and that word is janky. This is no different. Yes, it's janky like all the others. Characters are janky. They do this weird thing sometimes when they're walking and sort of looking up at the sky with their neck bent back in an Exorcist style sort of stance. They do this weird thing where they hold the towel in front of them in this sort of Messiah type-esque stance. They don't look particularly great, if I'm honest with you. The prison itself, though, and I will give the credit to the developers on this one, in terms of the way it looks like a prison. You ever seen The Green Mile or Shawshank Redemption? This is kind of how you envisage it to look, so they've done a great job in terms of the art style. Now, the animations aren't great, I'm not going to lie. When you're sort of having a fight with someone, they're not great. When they're holding on to something, it's not great. There could be a lot of work done there. It's very rough around the edges. It kind of does break that immersion, but again, I'm always conscious of the kind of size of these studios and what they're trying to achieve. I'm not going to hold them really to the same level as I do those big studios. However, I do hold it to the same level as some other simulator games I've come across, and this probably isn't one of the best ones to sort of showcase what they can do here. So I do think that can be tidied up. Now, I had no problems running it on my system, but then I have a pretty high rig system, to be honest, so I don't know what you can really take from that. But I didn't have any crashes. It seems well optimized. It ran smoothly. It played well. So that was really good. Now, for fear of sounding incredibly naive, on the sound side, they went down a design choice of what I'm calling Sims type language. It's kind of nonsensical language. Someone's probably going to put in the comments that it's Russian or something along those lines, so apologies if that is the case. However, I like it. It kind of immerses you in the prison and what it is that you're doing, and it forces you to read what's going on anyway, which I always think it is quite a nice stance than just going for the American or British accents, which we seem to get in so many games. So I really like the fact that they've sort of stuck with that. The sound effects are okay. The music is okay. I mean, I don't think there's anything to shout home about in these types of games. It does a job. It's not going to kind of, you know, break your speakers or anything of that nature, and you're certainly not going to come away from it, you know, thinking that you know, had a really good audio experience. It just does a job. So is it worth your investment? Whew. Yeah, I do think it is. I mean, I think if you like these types of games, as I said, there's a lot of simulator games out there. I would put this up there as definitely one of the better ones, one of the best ones. Gas Station Simulator I still have in very high regard, but I think this one might just top it out, even though it has, I think, more issues than Gas Station Simulator. I love the fact that there's just more of a story here and more variety of things to do. So definitely check it out, guys. I think you'll have good fun. It, you know, questions your morals along the way as to what kind of guard that you want to be, and that's great. You know, I like choices in games, and this is certainly one of them that gives you that. So with that, guys, check it out. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, and I will speak to you soon.